Diversity in gaming is what attracts so many different types of players to the home consoles, and today we celebrate that diversity by bringing you our 7th wave of PS4 titles. Whether you're slightly ghoulish or drop-dead gorgeous, people from all walks of life can gain pleasure in the world of gaming with so many unique titles to choose from. So gear up for the next installment of PS4 Variety, and try not to worry if you don't exactly look stunning doing it. Everyone, welcome back to our next installment of PS4 reviews. This time around, I've decided to deplete the numbers of games that we usually review. Usually I do waves of 20. I think I'm going to stop doing that and start doing waves of 10. That way I can kick these out a little faster for you, and they're not quite as long for you to sit through. So I think that's a great idea. Let me know in the comments if you agree. But let's go ahead and start this with our Mellow Special Edition. This one's by Sodesco, one of my favorite indie developers. It's rated E10+. And on the back it's presented fairly nicely, but this one was a bit of a surprise. It's rated E for fantasy violence, mild blood, mild language, and alcohol reference. It was a bit of a surprise because I didn't think they'd go this direction, but I'm so glad that they did, and I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you a little bit about this game. On the right you get your disc, and on the left you have a soundtrack that comes with this version, so that's really cool that they decided to add that for you. Let's get right into our Mellow. Equipment, traps, and spell cards. Oh my! All orchestrated by a furry lineup of well-placed forest creatures on the digital game table of thrones. We have our Mellow, a bold new entry by Sodesco, with 16 playable characters, 8 of which are DLC. You'll traverse your 3 decks of cards to make what hopefully is the best choice to gain prestige and influence the king. Now, although there is a stiff learning curve, this game's tutorials do magic in teaching you the ropes, and it doesn't seem as tedious as one would think. In all likelihood, I feel you will love this game if board games are your thing. Just beware of some of the overly priced DLC. Our next title is by 505 Games, and it's called Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. This one has some bonus content with an art gallery, sound gallery, and director's commentary walkthrough. I was hemming and hawing about picking this one up, because I've seen it in the game store many times. I've just never really gotten to the point where I wanted to play it, but I saw the Game of the Year on it, and I've heard a lot of good things, so I decided to get it, and I'm really glad that I did. It was a fun playthrough. It's rated T for teen. It's presented very well on the back, as you can see here. And on the bottom, you get your rating for blood, mild language, and violence. On the inside, you're going to get your disc and then the insert on the left. That is a pretty cool looking game cover, guys. Let's talk about Brothers. I've never felt so evenly yoked to my controller than when I played the emotionally invoking Brothers, which I may identify with as Brothers Grimm because of the depressing nature of the game's story. But don't worry, because sometimes what doesn't or does kill you makes you stronger. The game opens up a unique mechanic as you control the little brother with the right analog stick and the older with the left. In its 3-hour playthrough, you won't gain much by dive bombing through it, but rather by taking your time with it and appreciating its attempt to infiltrate your heart. Well, looky here. Next we're talking about Caveman Warriors, the limited edition. This is a Play Asia game, guys, by Jandu Soft and East Asia Soft. As you can see, this is the limited edition box set. It is a numbered game as well. Down there is my number. It's number 403 on this particular one. Pretty cool, guys. It says it's a Region 3 over here, but it actually is playable in any PlayStation 4. So not a problem. Don't get scared because you see that. You can still play it on your PlayStation. It's got some pretty cool art direction to it. I'm gonna show you what came inside this box here next, though, and we will talk about that. Right here, we'll just look at the game first, and what we got is some different artwork, and if you flip this around, you can make it look like the cover over there from the limited edition box set. But this is the flip side of that cover on the inside. And then if you open this up, of course, you have your insert and your game as usual. But what else you get here is a book and a certificate, which is really cool. I'll show you that in a sec. But this book is pretty much, you know, standard artwork that you're going to see in the game. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not anything amazing, but it's still kind of neat to have. So yeah, it's kind of cool, guys. Check it out. There's some little stories. Looks like a little comic or something, comic skit in there. Pretty sweet. And there's your developers, I believe, right there, designers and programmers. So that was really cool that it has all that. It does also come with this, which is really cool. I really like this aspect of it. It has a certificate number, 403 out of 2,600. Only 2,600 of these made, guys, and I've got number 403. There's the back, and it's just really nicely presented. I really like this. It does come with this as well, which is the soundtrack for the game. I haven't opened it yet, but I may one day if the music's really good. But there you go, guys. and I think this is a cool little box set. Paid about $50 for it, but let's talk about Caveman Warriors. Remember the days when Captain Caveman was the hip superhero that took over our televisions on Saturday morning by storm? Well, those days are back with an old title worthy of modern scrutiny. You will get 4 different cave keeps to loot, pillage, and wreak havoc upon the prehistoric world. I also hope the females aren't really males because there's no dual genders in this title. Aside from the possible trannies, we get a 1-player or 2-player ruckus that may perhaps rival the Joe and Mac days. The sweet Stone Age is back, and maybe, just maybe, I'll skip a few showers to show my dedication. Swinging in at number 4, we come to Deponia. This one is by THQ Nordic and Daedalic Entertainment, rated T for teen, and I really like the way the artwork depicts the characters. On the front, it looks very cool. On the back, again, as well, it looks really nice. And then it's rated T for cartoon violence, language, partial nudity, use of alcohol and tobacco. And yeah, that's what you get from this one. Inside, you don't have an insert, but we do have a game here. Let's talk about Deponia now. Always comparable to Monkey Island, but actually a better point-and-click title due to its graphics and dialogue. Here we have Rufus, who dreams of getting himself to Elysium from the slums of Deponia, and maybe get a little lovin' along the way. What to look for in these titles is the voice acting, story, and ease of finding the areas of interactivity. It nails the first one and provides ample story, but leaves out a few of the details and direction for the third. I fail to find too much to complain about, especially for the low price point. So if you like these types of adventure settings, get your feet wet here, but try not to track it in on the carpet. And yes, we have it, Ninokuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, and this is a fairly new release for this review, but I have had some time to play it. I have not completed it yet, but I will review what I have found so far with it. This is the Day 1 edition. It includes a special sword set, and this is by Bandai Namco, rated T14. I was really curious to see what they would do with this next installment because I loved the first Ninokuni on PlayStation 3. Very glad to have this in my collection now. There's the back with a decent presentation, your artwork on the side for the words, and then on the back you have it rated T for fantasy violence and some mild blood. On the inside, you get to see those swords we just talked about and the disc on the right. So let's get into Ninokuni 2's review. Ninokuni and Oshkosh Bagosh initiate charm whenever they may be uttered, and here we return to this world only roughly 500 years later. If you are looking for a return to the awe factor, Part 2 doesn't focus too heavily upon it. However, it modernizes a good idea and moves you along at an exceptional pace. Also, you'll be testing a new combat system that mostly consists of melee battles and some skirmish fights. This time around, you get a darker game, more along the lines of your average JRPG. It was a change I appreciated as a game matures. You'll be looking at around 40 hours for a complete playthrough, but it's worth its weight as a fresh sequel with matured charm. Next up, we have a game here by 505 and by Keen Developers. This is Portal Knights, the Gold Throne Edition. This is rated E10+ and has a very nice presentation on the front and on the back, as you can see here. It's rated E10+ for fantasy violence, and on the inside you get the Pioneer Pack, which gives you some extra downloadable content, and then of course your disc on the right side. I dub thee Portal Knight. The focus of entertainment here really does lie in the engagement within battles and the 3 boss encounters you will come across. It also offers building with a purpose as an option. So for single gameplay, it holds its spot as an average game, but as co-op is concerned, I would rather play with myself. You know what I mean. The fact that I can't use the same item at the same time as my team member makes me want to punch a baby, and I don't need that kind of rage. So what I'm trying to say is if you want a semi-grinder with Zelda-esque and Minecraft components, Portal Knights is a no-brainer, with a moderate IQ. Up next, I am proud to bring you Shantae HalfGenie Hero. This one is by WayForward and Xseed Games, rated T14, and the artwork on that is just fabulous. I love it. I love the direction it's taken. It looks really good. On the back, it looks just as good. And just a really, really well done game, guys. I really appreciated this one and like the fact that I had this option to get on PS4. It's rated T for cartoon violence and suggestive themes. On the inside, some more amazing artwork there on the left, and then your disc right there as well. Let's just get right on into Shantae. Hand-drawn animation, I Dream of Genie anime, eye-straining color, and hip gyration are just a few of the things that make this HalfGenie whole. Coming in as the 4th title in the series, this is a truly fabulous platformer with attention to rhythm and fun. I'm sure that Shantae must have a hefty insurance policy on her weed because it is the weapon of choice as she jams through each level. I also own the 2 prior releases from Limited Run, and even though I understand they are low print runs, I'm a bit shocked how I picked this up for 20 bucks when the other 2 are nearly 100 each, and this one is probably my favorite thus far. For the price point and the fun factor, Shantae is more like Chardonnay. From that exhilarating high to this downtrodden low, we come to Valkyria Revolution. This one is by Sega and rated T14, and not bad artwork, right? I mean, it doesn't look that bad. Even on the back, they may have accentuated a few things a little bit too much, but otherwise, at first glance, it's a pretty good looking game. It's rated T for blood, language, sexual themes, use of alcohol, and violence. And I guess, you know what makes this so depressing is that if you compare it to the first game, you're going to be very disappointed. But if you just play it for what it is, it's an okay game. I'll give it that at the most, because there are some things in it that I do like, but for the most part, I was definitely let down here. Where did my tactical, strategically awesome experience get off to? I think what they tried to do here was bring us a Drakengard style gameplay with RPG elements. By elements, I mean cutscenes and menus. Yeah. It became annoying with the sheer level of dialogue in between action sequences. Not to say the game doesn't play good when you get the opportunity, but it is riddled with filler. Visually, it actually stands out as beautiful for the world it is set in, but everything I said prior unfortunately ruins that. The Beatles once said, "You say you want a revolution, but I say, I want my Chronicles back." And next we have a semi-rare title by Nippon Ichi of America. This is Yomawari, and it is, like I said, kind of hard to get. It's one of the ones you might have to order because you probably won't find it in any game shop, I wouldn't imagine. Sometimes they may have it, but I have not seen this yet. This is the Midnight Shadows, and it's rated M for mature. On the back there you can see the presentation, barely, but if I bring it in closer you can kind of see what's going on there. It's rated mature for blood and gore and violence. And if we open this up, as you can see, this is brand new. It did not come with an insert, but I bought it brand new, and I've been playing it since I bought it. And pretty fun. It's one of the games that I don't love, but it's something that I can definitely come back to later, I think, and get into a little bit more. So, sequel to Night Alone, Midnight Shadow casts itself into our options of 2D adorable horror titles. It places you in an area armed only with a flashlight to escape the clutches of creatures that go bump in the night. Fast-traveling shrines aside, the game isn't very forgiving when you actually get caught, and will start you at a previous save point rather than the last encounter. Other than the few annoyances, you will most likely find that the puzzles and pattern solving is a delight to pick up, even if it is a dark passenger needing a ride. And our last game of this review will be Yonder, the Cloud Catcher Chronicles. This one is by Merge Games, I believe, and it is a rated E for everyone. I do really like the artwork on the front. I think it was done very well. Very enticing looking game. I thought it would be something new and fresh that I haven't seen yet. And it was almost that. It was really good. I liked the art direction quite a bit. That was probably the best part about it, and then some of the other things like the lighting and everything. But this is rated E for crude humor. And there's your inside. This is a brand new copy, so this is how it comes with no insert. But getting into this last game review of the evening, I just wanted to let you guys know, thank you so much for watching again. I really do appreciate you guys watching this. And please comment anytime you feel like you want to. Let me know about how you feel about a game, or if you have found any games that I haven't reviewed yet in any of my reviews that you just love. I'd love to get some new stuff for these reviews for you guys. So this game had a great use of color, lighting, and shading. This came as a bit of a laid-back surprise. It immerses the player in picturesque worlds which have a pulse all their own. I like the idea of guilds that allow the player to craft. It felt personalized and was well done with enticement to keep me coming back, at least for over half of the 6-hour campaign. Near the end, I wasn't quite into it like I'd hoped, and a sense of complacency set in. Despite the lack of interest, later on in the game, I did feel like I had gained an experience worth the $20 price tag. That's going to wrap it up for this review, but don't fret, we have more to review and discuss in due time. With so many styles to choose from, we have the ammo to be as diverse as a groundhog at a kite festival. So stick around and visit us again for our next PS4 collage, and remember, game happy.